everyone. Welcome to Grammy Museum Experience Prudential Center's mini masterclass. My name is Mark Conklin. I'm the Director of Artist Relations and Programming at the Grammy Museum Experience Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey, the East Coast home of the Grammy Museum. Although our doors are closed, we're continuing our mission of educating and hopefully inspiring our youth and adults to create their own music or learn about a possible career in the music industry. So we've launched our mini masterclass series, where we'll talk with artists and music industry professionals from all different genres. We'll be asking 5 questions in 5 minutes about their career, their craft, and their inspiration. Afterward, we want to hear from you. We want you to apply something you've learned or that's inspired you and create some music of your own and share it with us. I'll be back at the end of the discussion to let you know how to do that. But first, let's meet our next guest. All right, welcome back, everybody, to Mini Masterclass. A fun one today. We have Johnny Stevens from the power rock band Highly Suspect. Johnny, thanks so much for being with us on Mini Masterclass.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Well, we'll jump right in. I was going to ask you first, of all the things that you do, what are the kinds of skills and qualities that someone needs to be successful in your line of work? What are the common traits and things that someone could use to be successful?
Blind faith. I think that you really have to believe that you have something to offer. It's so important because, we're working in a creative field. So there is no actual template. Sure, there's formulas for, this or that, the other type of song or creation. But for real, you have to just kind of have total blind faith in yourself and believe that you are worthy and that what you're working on is worthy and that people want to listen to it and watch it and things like that. So blind faith.
Important. What's the thing that you love the most about this? Like, what's the thing that still for you is the most exciting part that gets you excited about doing what you do and keeps you going forward?
It's always something new. You know what I mean? Like when you actually feel good about a creation that you've made and you get to hear it back, it's so exciting. And that doesn't necessarily mean in a recorded sense. Sometimes that can be when you just have maybe a few lyrics, or maybe it is a recorded sense and you finished a demo. But that first time that you have a new product or a new song or a new video or something in that realm is always, like, for me, the most rewarding, because then it just gets old after that. Right. I don't care about it anymore. I'm like,
Right. It's somebody else's then, but for a while it's yours.
Right. Yeah. Before that's exactly it. It's actually before the world gets to hear it. But that's the most exciting time for me.
Yeah. This thing we call pro tip. So now this is something that, whether it's a technique or a trick or a tip that you apply to either your writing, your performing in the studio, something that you do that maybe our students, our viewers could learn and apply to their own craft as they're developing as well.
Okay, pro tip. And you know what? I bet you there'll be some professors out there that would actually disagree with me. But for me, the end always justifies the means. The end always justifies the means. And what I mean when I say that is that nobody's ever going to really see unfortunately, the thousands of hours or maybe hundreds of hours or maybe 10 minutes that you put into any one project or one product, but they'll have the end result. So if you get hung up and you're being creative, and if you get hung up on something that's technical, but let's say you have a workaround, you somehow find a way to achieve this sound or this whatever. If it's you haven't technically sidechained something the way that it should be sidechained. I'm just giving out like an example, you know what I mean? But you've achieved the sound somehow quickly and in a way that isn't the way that you're supposed to do it.
Right.
But you got there and it sounds good to you, or you have a mix and it sounds really good to you, but you haven't sent it off to a mixer, but it sounds really good to you. Don't waste too much time overthinking it, at least, in my experience. Or even if on the guitar, not even in a computer sense, not even in a DAW sense, but I find a chord and I play it and maybe the fingering is incorrect. Maybe I'll figure out how to play that with an easier fingering later on for a live application. But it worked on the recording. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, don't spend, because I've spent time sometimes where I'm like, I've achieved what it is I want to achieve. And I'm like, I know there's a a better way to do that. You know, I know I didn't do that like the right way on Ableton or something like that. There's got to be a more efficient way to do that. But then I'll spend so much time trying to figure out how to do it the right way that then I've just like lost my desire to create. So I guess, yeah, the ends always justifies the means in a creative world. So
Yes.
once you have something, just feel solid about it, you're good.
Yeah, the emotional part is what matters. It's funny, you ever go back and look at like an old session that you did and go, oh God, had this set up totally incorrectly, but it didn't matter. You didn't even know you did that because it still
Right.
sounds good. So to
Right.
your point, that's a really good point. This one's a fun one. We call it vintage vinyl, so it doesn't have to be on vinyl, of course, but it's a record or an album, something from way back when in the last century, let's say, that is something that informed your creativity, that maybe you still find yourself going back to for inspiration even now, that, you know, something else that we should check out as well.
Yeah, it's funny because this one isn't even that old, but I guess it is. But to me, it feels like yesterday. But it would be no doubt Tragic Kingdom was I don't know what year off the top of my head, but we could look that up. But no doubt Tragic Kingdom, it was in the 90s. It was their debut on a major. And that album, to me, I still go back and listen to some of the movements they made and some of the just what they kind of did as a band, particularly with that album, brought me on a roller coaster. And it was the first, and I've heard many albums since that do that, and some of them, but that one in particular brought me to many different places within its body of work. And so therefore it was an actual album to me. It wasn't just about a single or a song or a pretty girl. It wasn't about any of that. It was about the way that this body of work was able to bring me on such a journey in a way that like a movie could, that I could put it on from A and listen all the way to Z, you know, with my Discman, and and still to this day can throw that on. And
right.
What a great piece of work that is.
That's a good one. That's the first one I've gotten from a No Doubt. So I'll have to, for myself, even have to go back and check that out. It's been a while. The last thing I would ask you is just something that's inspired you recently. Now, this could be music, or it could be a book or a television show or a film or a piece of artwork, anything, just something that made you kind of, you know, sit up and take notice that if we have a chance, we should check out ourselves.
For me, and this is probably cliche, maybe you've heard this, it's honestly the world that I'm living in. It's not, you know, and a lot of times I do find inspiration from books and movies or Ridley Scott stuff. I love sci-fi, I love Blade Runner, that type of thing. But right now, it's the world that we're living in. For better or worse, it's definitely given me so much to think about and to write about.
Yeah, you find yourself now drawing from a lot of the things that are happening in the world today. And there's enough of it to draw from. Certainly.
There's an abundance, there's an abundance of things going on.
Well, we made our 5 questions, but the last thing I would ask you is just kind of, you know, for you and the band, what's happening? There's a music out we should check out. There's music coming out we should look forward to. What's happening in your world musically right now?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So I start next month, actually, and I'm not sure when this will be shown, but that would be November of 2020. Headed to Nashville to start recording what will be our 4th, but kind of 5th album with Highly Suspect, my main band. But I also have another band called EIS, and we just put out a single, and we have also just recorded an album last month, and that'll be coming out soon. And I've started a record label, an imprint with Mr. Kevin Lyles, who runs 300, and we've partnered up to create a record label called Freak Street, and it's FRKST, which is kind of hyphenated. And I've signed a couple of acts out of England so far. That would be Calva Louise and Strange Bones. I don't want to talk about their music. It's incredible. I will let it speak for itself. And then lastly, I'm working on a solo album as well under the moniker Terrible Johnny, which is probably the most experimental of all of the aforementioned. So a lot is going on, and you can find it anywhere online when you type my name in as things progress.
Yes, and we will have links below us in the description to anything, to your point, when this is out. If there is music out, look there and you will be able to check it out. And Johnny, thanks so much for taking some time to be with us. We appreciate it. Enjoyed it. Everybody check out those albums, check out the new music, and we'll see you again next time on Mini Masterclass.
Thanks so much, guys.
I hope you learned something new or interesting from our special guest. Be sure to check out some of the music and inspirations we discussed during our conversation. And now we want to hear from you. We need you and your music more than ever. So we're encouraging you to make some music, make a video, post it, and tag us. It can be practicing your instrument or learning a new one, write a new song or learn a new cover song, make a beat on your computer, sing a cappella, whatever you like. Just video yourself, post it, and tag us at Prue Center and use the hashtag Grammy Museum EXP. We promise we'll check out every single one and might even repost a few. And join us each weekday at 3 p.m. for more of Grammy Museum Experience Prudential Center's mini masterclass. Until then, make music and make a difference. I'm Mark Conklin. So long.